Some people look unbothered, even cold. But here's the truth. The people who feels the deepest are usually the ones hiding the most pain. And maybe that person is you. Hi, my name is Eden and welcome to my channel, The Introvert Speaks. You know what's strange? Some of the most emotional people become the quietest people in the room. Not because they don't feel anything, but because life taught them that expressing emotions can be risky. Because maybe every time they opened up, they were ignored. Or maybe someone used their vulnerability against them. Or maybe they were told things like, stop being sensitive, man up, you're overthinking. So eventually, they stopped talking about what hurt them. And after a while, hiding emotions became automatic. They smile when they're exhausted, they say I'm fine when their chest feels heavy, they laugh in conversations while silently fighting battles nobody notices. And honestly, I think many people watching this video know exactly what that feels like. Because sometimes the strongest looking people are simply the ones who became experts at suffering quietly. One thing I noticed about deeply emotional people is this. They often act detached because they care too much. When someone matters to them, they overthink everything. A late reply hurts them more than they admit. A small change in tone stays in their head for hours. Distance feels personal, silence feels loud, but instead of saying it openly, they hide it. Why? Because they don't want to seem needy. They don't want to scare people away. And deep down, they are terrified of being too much for someone. So they become emotionally controlled on the outside. But internally, their mind never stops racing. And the sad part is, people often misunderstand them. People call them cold, uninterested, emotionless, when in reality, they feel everything deeply. They just don't know how to express it safely anymore. Have you ever met someone who jokes all the time, but something about their eyes looks tired? Yes, a lot of emotionally heavy people use humor as survival because making others laugh is easier than explaining sadness. It's easier to turn pain into jokes than to admit, I'm struggling. And honestly, some people become the funny friend because it distracts them from their own thought. And you'll notice this especially late at night. During the day, they seem energetic, social, entertaining, but when they are finally alone, everything hits them at once. The overthinking, the loneliness, the memories, but they act like none of them affects them anymore. And maybe that's why some people keep themselves busy because silence forces them to face emotions they have been avoiding for years. One painful thing about deep feelers is this. They are usually the ones helping everyone else. They give advice, they comfort people, they check on others, they stay patient even when they are falling apart themselves. And it's not fake, they genuinely care because they know what pain feels like, so they never want others to feel alone. But here's the problem, nobody checks on the strong person. People assume they can handle everything, and over time, emotionally deep people start carrying everyone's problems while silently ignoring their own. And that kind of emotional weight changes a person and it makes them mentally exhausted. Sometimes they disappear for a while, sometimes they become distant, and sometimes they even stop replying. Not because they hate people, but because they are tired of being emotionally available for everyone while nobody notices what they are going through. And honestly, that feeling can become incredibly lonely. I think one of the worst feeling in the world is being surrounded by people and still feeling alone. And trust me, emotionally deep people experience this a lot because they think deeply, feel deeply, love deeply. But most conversations nowadays stay surface level. So they slowly stop explaining themselves and start saying, it's okay, forget it, it doesn't matter, even when it does matter. And eventually they build emotional walls so high that nobody knows what's happening inside them anymore. But here's the truth, behind every emotionally grounded person is usually someone who once cared too openly, someone who once trusted too much, felt too much, and loved too honestly. And after being hurt enough times, they learned how to hide it. Not because they wanted to become cold, but because hiding emotions felt safer than exposing them. So, if you're someone who feels deeply but hides it, I just want you to remember this. Your emotions are not weakness. Your sensitivity is not something to be ashamed of. In a world where most people pretend not to care, being someone who feels deeply is rare. But just don't lose yourself while trying to protect yourself. And one day, maybe you will find people who make feel vulnerability safe again. So that's all for today's video. If you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.